So here we are on GU, and let's break down today's London session because actually there was an entry opportunity that I missed, and I had other zones in my mind in order to enter on the trip, but I will break it down everything. But Marcel has already broke it down, so it doesn't really that necessary to break it down for me. Marcel has broken it down in the live trading session, so close of 100 people has shown it. So yeah, but what happened on the 4-hour time frame? Well, there was a swing break or structure to the upside on the 4-hour time frame. Also, there was literally perfect triple tops, which wasn't been enough in order to sweep the price. So there was triple tops, and price has just broken above these high points, as you can see, broken above this supply area. And technically, this break has happened from this 4-hour demand area. I have refined it on the 15-minute time frame, this huge 4-hour candle, and I have used these 15-minute refinements instead of this huge 4-hour zone. But technically on the 4-hour time frame on GU, I expected the same thing that I expected on EU. So after these swing breakout structures, price tends to make pullbacks to the downside, and in this case, on the 4-hour time frame, there was still liquidity on the downside on GU. So price could broke below this low demand area, and after the break of this demand, I would be 100% sure that this liquidity will be swept. But this scenario wasn't really likely happening this London session, and probably it would need at least a week in order to happen correctly. So after this swing breakout structure, I was expecting either a pullback to the downside or continuation on the last recent 15-minute demand, which actually happened on GU in this case. So today, EU and GU wasn't really correlating. So let's take a look on the 15-minute time frame. What happened on the 15-minute time frame? Well, there wasn't any valuable supply zone mitigation at all on the 4-hour time frame, not even on the 15-minute time frame. And after this swing breakout structure right here, price was struggling right here. So this is the exact same movement that happened on EU. Price was slowed down and built up liquidity on the downside for the possible pullbacks after the swing breakout structure, which has been built up for technically this 15-minute demand area, which is a refined 4-hour demand, or for this extreme 15-minute demand area, which is the extreme refinement of the 4-hour zone. So yeah, technically I had the exact same plans on GU and EU. So the first one was the confirmation entry of this last recent 15-minute demand. If it happens, we can target this high point for our longs, and we can expect a new breakout structure. Or if price can manage to flip this zone, then technically it would be a 15-minute change of character, and after this 15-minute change of character, we could take sells down to this 15-minute demand area, which is a refined 4-hour demand area. So we had really easy plans to follow in this session, and on the 5-minute time frame, technically we did not have anything else. There was a breakout structure with really nice volume movement. This movement has happened with news. So there was a news, high impact news 1 hour before session open. So yeah, but price, as you can see, mitigated it, but session started technically right here. This is the first candle of the session. And after this breakout structure here, price has made really nice pullback to the downside. So there was a pullback, really slow pullback to the downside down to this 15-minute demand area after this volume breakout structure to the upside on the 15-minute time frame, and after the 50% mitigation on this 15-minute demand area, price has reacted perfectly with a perfect V-shaped recovery. Personally, there was the last recent breakout structure that I considered. So technically, I consider this supply as a character changing supply. So there was the last recent breakout structure, which has happened from this supply area. But because of that, I considered here the 1-minute change of character. But technically, if we compare this breakout structure and this breakout structure, look at the volume in this supply and in this supply. Technically, this movement right here functioned as liquidity for the higher 1 minute supply area that has caused breakout structure. Price has really slowed down at this region, and technically the real change of character has happened after the break of this 1 minute supply area, but I wouldn't really call this one as a wrong change of character, but definitely this higher one was the real one, the more valuable one. So yeah, but in the session I did consider this change of character as a change of character for us, and in this case I stick to this zone and to this 1 minute area. This was the extreme, the origin of this whole character changing movement, and this was the decision in my mind, and I was focusing on these areas. Let me mark them properly. All right, here is the decision. Perfect. And here is the extreme zone. These were the decision and extreme zones for me in today's London session on GU. And actually, there was another one that I did not realize in time just after the reaction, which was this flip zone right here. That has technically closed the more valuable change of character 2, which was also a flip in this case. After the flip of this 1 minute supply, after the change of character on several places, technically, price has started a pullback to the downside, but created really nice amount of liquidity right here. I marked only these triple bottoms right here, but technically after these triple bottoms, which wasn't that huge amount of liquidity because price was struggling at this region, but after these triple bottoms, we can still call it as triple bottoms. First touch, couple minutes spent, second touch, couple minutes spent, third touch. So technically this is still valid liquidity, but after this liquidity creation, price even made more liquidity right here, or we can mark it like this. And technically this whole liquidity has been built up for this flip zone that has caused the flip of the more valuable supply in this case. And technically this was just liquidity for this supply area. But once again, I did mark the change of character right here. So technically that was the reason why I was waiting for these areas on GU and why I did not really consider this zone right here. So I was really expecting this liquidity to be swept into a decision right here or into the extreme. I had a risk split on these areas. So in the new London update, I did send an update there to count your own criteria for your own decision to these areas. However, after the mitigation of this 1 minute zone, price reacted on it really nicely, made a new breakout structure to the upside on the 5 minute time frame right here. And after this 5 minute breakout structure, I decided to delete my orders right here. Price has built up a new 5 minute demand area right here, where I was expecting a new breakout structure, or I believe there was a new 5 minute demand, but let me check on the 5 minute time frame properly. Yeah, there was a 5 minute demand and there was the extreme. I was expecting either confirmation entry here or here. And yeah, technically that's all, but let's count the criteria for this possible entry opportunity right here. And also for these zones. So the first one was higher time frame zone mitigation. Second was liquidity for entry. I needed liquidity creation for the entry PI because there wasn't really nice liquidity creation above the higher time frame zones. So I was really expecting and I was really waiting for liquidity for the entry PI, which has happened right here. So it has been formed right here. So there was liquidity for the entry. We had inefficiency for technically both zones in this case. So I had inefficiency for both zones. And we are clearly in a pro trend. So 4-hour has just made a new breakout structure. price has mitigated the last recent 15-minute demand, and price has just confirmed it on the 1-minute time frame. So we had a perfect fractal confirmations on the GU. So this is the fourth criteria. This fifth one is the change of character. Price has changed character on several places. So change of character happened with perfect V-shape recovery and with perfect 50% mitigation. We had liquidity to target on the upside. Technically, this whole pullback was liquidity built up for the future longs. So this was liquidity for the longs. Technically, price reacted on this 5-minute supply, but it has broken it. So price wasn't really coming from an opposite sided zone. So this would be our 9th criteria. And we had corrective pullback, strong pro movements. There is no doubt about it. So volume, bullish pullback, bullish pro movements, and and slow liquidity creation pullbacks to the downside, which would be the 10th criteria in this case. The only missing criteria for me was the combined liquidation. There wasn't liquidity creation for the higher time frame zone, but there was liquidity for the entry POI. So in this case, the liquidity for the entry POIs was the liquidity take in the base criterias. But yeah, I considered these zones for my entry opportunities. I didn't really consider this zone. I have just realized that after the session and once we have talked about Marcel about it. So yeah, that's all, guys. But Marcel has already broken this entry opportunity down in today's live session. So that's all, guys. I really hope these recaps will be valuable. I will definitely going to backtest, especially this opportunity today, and I will definitely going to journal it. So yeah, however, I had no tech trades right here on these areas, but it happens. It happens sometimes. Everyone can make mistakes. So yeah, but we learn from these mistakes, and because they are the best lessons for us. So yeah, that's all, guys. Take care and have a nice rest of the day. See you guys tomorrow.